Welcome to the Secret Cellar Green Room Podcast. I'm your host, York Underwood. I'm also the show manager here at the Secret Cellar. Today on the podcast, we have our guest, Eggert.
Hey.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm doing
Did I say
pretty
your
good.
name right? It always scares me.
Yeah, it was not even close.
Not even close. How do you say it?
Eggert.
Eggert.
Yeah, with a rolling R.
I can't roll an R.
All right, then forget about it then.
So this is interesting to have you on the podcast. So who we've had on before, we've had Dan, we had Andrew Sims coming on, or Andrew Sim. I don't even think it's Sims. I think I said his name wrong the whole time he was here. But it's Andrew Sim. He's from Scotland. We've had Davith, who's one of the owners. But this is an interesting chance, and I thought this was a good idea because you kind of like got your start here.
Yeah, I did.
So you weren't part of the stuff before. This is where you started doing comedy. And what made you first come to the Secret Cellar, and then what's made you want to get on stage?
I always loved stand-up since I was little, and it was never a big scene here in Iceland.
Yeah.
I lived in the States for a while and fell in love with it over there. So when I moved back about 2 years ago, I started coming over here when the Secret Cellar opened up.
Yeah.
And thought it was wonderful. And then a couple of my friends just told me like, hey, you should try open mic that they have here on Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I did, and it went well, and I guess I just got the bug.
Yeah. It's true. I've noticed of all the people who started like even when I started, you're one of the hardest working people who start in comedy I've ever met. Like you're here constantly. You basically are promoting shows. You're bringing friends to shows. You want people to hear about it, and you're trying new material every week. Is this something like is this your goal? You're going to try and become the most popular comedian in Iceland?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I love doing it, and it's something when you get your first big laugh and people start applauding you, you just want more of it. And also I just think it's a really good thing. Is we live in Iceland. There's not so many things to laugh about in a day to day. So
laugh about in a good way.
No, yeah.
There's tragedy you can laugh at if you're just giving up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I asked this to like a couple of the other people we've had on the podcast. We had Artner the last week, and I asked him about you're starting off where you're doing it in English. You lived in the States for a bit, but what is it like? Do you think mostly in Icelandic? Do you write jokes in Icelandic and then go into English, or what do you do?
It really depends on if I'm telling a story that happened in English, then I write it in English and I think about it in English. I don't think about it in Icelandic. But if it happened in Icelandic, I think about it and I try to convert it over to English. How's that going?
It's not going well.
No.
I think I've actually started smoking more in the podcast than I ever smoked. Because like what happened was because we wanted this to have the green room feel. Yeah. We're like, it's a green room. This is where we smoke, and this is where people have drinks and stuff like that, and this is where you hang out. And then someone like came up to me and they're like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't smoke on the podcast. It's not very professional. And I'm like, we don't want it to be professional.
No.
We want it to be like interesting.
Yeah.
And so now I think in the back of my head, I've got that like syndrome where I'm like, smoke more, do everything worse.
so the room doesn't smell right now. So you have to smoke more. Yeah, I get that.
This is crazy. It's just because it's so cold. We got the heater on in here, but it's still. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's like -6 or something.
Yeah, but you that's interesting that you think in like English and in Icelandic, because I'm not bilingual yet in any way, and whenever I'm trying to do Icelandic, I can sometimes like I hear words and I associate them to the object they're talking about. Yeah. So I'm not thinking like, this is that or that is. I'm actually thinking of the Icelandic word, and I can kind of get that. Yeah. But you think in both.
Yeah, in a way, but when you do it in Icelandic, it's such it's usually a lot shorter, or you can only phrase it in one way. Yeah. But when you think about it in English, is like you can always switch out words to make it a little bit more funnier. Yeah. Compared to Icelandic. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it so interesting. There's this movie called Firefox with Clint Eastwood where he steals a Russian MiG plane, but it's operated by your mind. and he can't get the plane to start, and he's like, oh, what do I have to do? And he's like, oh yeah, think in Russian, and then he can fly the plane with his mind. So whenever I watch you guys on stage, I'm always like, you guys are like Clint Eastwood in Firefox. They're like,
right.
why am I not getting laughs? Oh yeah, think in English.
Yeah, I totally agree because English have so many words for the same object, and some of them are funny and some of them are not funny. So you have to kind of pick and choose.
I remember, I'm not sure who told it. It might have been like, because I got my start by a comedian called Des Reed, and he was in Saskatoon, and he's really just when he's on stage, it's like everyone's watching. It's always a different type of show. He's really exciting, but he always told me things like always look for "k" sounds. So he said like when you say like you said the word children always sounds tragic, but the word kids sounds funny. So if you're talking about hating kids, it's funnier than saying you hate children, which sounds like you're a jerk. And he said it's because when you have "k" sounds, your mouth kind of goes up in a grin, and it's just that animal, that ape instinct, like a mirror neuron.
I heard that the K sound, and that's why quack is funnier than moo.
Yeah, I guess. Quack. Yeah, quack. Is that what they say in Icelandic?
Quack,
quack, quack.
Yeah. I have no idea who figured that out, but somebody looked at a duck and went like, "Yeah, that goes quack." That's a sound.
So what was the type of, like you said, you were big into comedy, you lived in the States. What was the type of influences? Because right now is a kind of a different time in stand-up. Even here, there are a lot of people are doing it because it's like overcoming something, it's therapeutic. But are you just a person who liked funny stuff?
Yeah, I just like funny stuff, and I think I can get annoyed really, really easily about stuff that doesn't really fucking matter. and I start complaining about it, and sometimes just to myself, and I figure out like in my car, like, Jesus Christ, you're a fucking idiot. And then I'll just start laughing. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's how I become, I could control my rage a little bit more by just try to make it funny instead of getting
control
angry.
your rage.
Yeah.
You're like a young Bill Burr. It's all about controlling your rage.
Yeah.
Oh, and how many times do you think, like some of these weeks you're getting on stage like 3 or 4 times a week?
Yeah. Next Saturday will be either my 99th time or the 100th time.
So you've been on stage 100 times, and how long have you been doing stand-up?
Since March this year?
Yeah, March this year.
9th of March.
Yeah, so it's from spring to fall because it's November now.
Yeah.
This is gonna come out in December. This podcast.
Okay.
But because it's but just basically from spring until the winter, you've gone on stage 100 times. That's a lot more than a lot of people would do in their first few months.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to take every spot that I can do, and I've been doing every time I go to Denmark. I did open mic in Denmark as well.
How's it there?
It was good. The first time I actually did it, they had it. There was an open mic, and I showed up, and they told us that weekend was the funniest Danish person or something competition or something. So it was just really big comedians like trying the materials. So the guy told me like, nah, I can't give you a spot. I was like, all right. Yeah. But I just stayed and watched. And the guy before he introduced the last comic, he said like, all right, do you speak Danish at all? I was like, no. He's like, so you've been here for 1.5 hours listening to anything that you can't even understand? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right. Okay, all right. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And I went and
that's like work ethic.
Yeah, and I did 5. That was great, and he just told me to keep on going.
Yeah.
I did 2 more minutes, and then I just thanked the audience, and it went pretty well.
Oh yeah, you went on during a contest. Funniest dentist.
Dentist? Yeah.
That's Danish. That's like funniest Danish.
Yeah.
Oh, they said funniest. I was just like, oh man, they are really stretching. Like they have a contest in Edmonton called like funniest person with a day job. But now they're just like
the carpenter.
Now they're just like micro targeting on Facebook. Are you the funniest dentist in Copenhagen? That'd be actually dentists, because dentists have a high suicide rate, just like writers and comedians. So maybe maybe dentists can be funny.
What? But why is that? Because
I don't know. Like it's like the high suicide
You
rates.
torture people all day? Or?
Yeah, you're looking in people's mouths. You're just like, this is my life. I went to school for 10, 12 years for this. Yeah, you have a cavity. You should start brushing your teeth. I don't feel like brushing my teeth. Okay, next person.
All right. More work for me.
More work for me. More mouths. More rotting mouths. It's a high suicide rate. And bus drivers, people who do the same bus route.
Yeah, I can
day.
understand that.
Yeah, but that's
My mom was a bus driver.
Okay.
But she quit, so she's still alive.
Oh, okay, good. Jesus, I thought this was going dark for a second. but a bus driver, that's more like a stand-up comedian than most jobs, because like a bus driver, like going over the same route, doing the same routine every day, and just like getting better and better at it. And you're like, oh yeah, no, if I just make it here by now, then I'll make the left turn before the light changes. And you're like perfecting it, and then you're hoping you're gonna get like the nice bus, and then you never get the promotion, and you
You tried to get the streets so you can get all the nice billboards.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, man, as soon as I get Route 4, man, it's going to be the best day ever. I'm sick of this suburb shit. I want Route 4. I want the billboards. I want the city lights. Oh, that's great. And so you also, this is something that, did you learn this in the States? You're the resident hot wing guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you learn that in the States?
Yeah, when I was in Alabama, I got introduced to real hot wings.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I couldn't find anything that came even close. So I just started doing myself.
Yeah.
And I've been at least trying to once a week, bringing hot wings over here. And
oh, yeah, they're great. Yeah, Artner, the one time, like, I went on stage while eating like your 5 alarm or whatever it's called, the hottest ones.
Yeah.
I saw you got ghost peppers now.
Yeah, it's
Carolina Reapers.
Yeah, Carolina Reaper. Yeah,
that's right.
And they are pretty freaking strong.
Yeah, they're pretty hot. What's it like being like an Icelander and living in Alabama?
Oh, that was so weird. It was like so I was in Montgomery, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
The first day when I moved there, I was walking just across the street. There was a local market there, and I can see like 2 cops' car and people standing around. And I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" This guy just looked at me. I'm like, you just found a body. I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, somebody got shot." I was like, "Oh, this is great."
It's great.
Right across my street. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, moving to Alabama.
Yeah. Not the most happening place, I can tell you that.
No?
No. When you go to a bar there, it's more staff than people.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they had a big economic downturn.
Yeah, but still, I mean, they got Alabama State. They have like 3 really big universities there. Yeah. So you thought it would be like a party place, but apparently it's not.
No. How long were you there?
About a year.
Yeah. Were you there for school, for basketball?
No, I was just there.
You was there.
I started in Atlanta, and then we moved to Montgomery. The girlfriend that I had at that time, she was studying in Montgomery.
Okay. Speech
and language pathology.
Oh, nice.
Whatever that is.
So you speak right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And that must be like what did you like? Is there anything that informs your stand-up, like being a person from Iceland? Because I noticed the difference, because there's probably a lot of racism there. Yeah. There's a lot of racism where I'm from too. I'm from Saskatchewan in Canada, and people are so like, they pretend because they're Canadian they're not racist, but like we have the indigenous people who still don't have proper drinking water and stuff like that. No one gives a shit. And I had teachers in high school who would say like, I'm not racist, but I hate Indians.
Oh, okay.
So it is like, and that is a very North American thing, this racism where they say this sort of stuff. Whereas in Iceland, I've noticed, and maybe you'll disagree, there's more of a xenophobia. Like when someone's from somewhere else, they don't say anything, but they also don't include them, because you have your like language that can cut you off from people. Yeah. So you can kind of just push people away, and you're scared of new things. Like there's not a lot of different styles of food in Iceland because people don't adopt it. But in the States, they'll adopt your food, they'll wear your clothes, they'll play your music, and then they'll fucking make fun of you to your face and say they hate you.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that. I mean, And also where I was in Alabama, it was he lived in this kind of gated community thing.
Yeah.
And it was just I'm pretty sure I was probably the only white person in that gated community.
Okay.
Which was fine, but it was just is a whole nother feel of like people say that neighbors always get along and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody hated their neighbors.
Yeah.
The guy next to you, they hated that guy. But if he lived across the street, that was okay.
Yeah.
It's always like, what difference does that make?
No Southern hospitality?
Yeah, is a lot of it, but it's all fake.
Okay. So they put on faces.
Yeah. I mean, my friend, for example, it didn't matter how hot it was outside.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to be without a t-shirt inside his house if his wife was home.
Yeah.
So every time his wife came home, I had to put on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But she was really polite. She was always, are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? You need something?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, would you mind if I take my pants off?
Yeah.
And she didn't want to be rude. So she was like, do you think you would be more comfortable without your pants off? I was like, yeah, of course.
It's super hot.
Yeah. And my friend like, yo, stop it, man. He's just fucking around. He's like, stop that.
Yeah. Do you think there's more of a prudishness? Because like I noticed a lot of American tourists when they come to Iceland and you have to like shower naked before you go into the public like pools or the Blue Lagoon, the big tourist place. They even have people monitoring, saying wash yourself because they don't want to have to add a bunch of chemicals, so everyone has to soap down. Excellent. They say they find that really weird that everyone's so comfortable being naked.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I mean, we were out playing basketball and then we were going back to the car.
Yeah.
I had to take my t-shirt off and I go to the back seat.
Yeah.
And there's another guy that I didn't really know. I knew his name, but it was not my friend or anything.
Yeah.
And he came in the back seat and he went like, yo, dude, put your t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's freaking 110 degrees.
Yeah.
He was like, well, you can't have two guys bare-chested in the back seat. I'm like, all right, then put your t-shirt on. I don't give a shit.
There's they're just weird that all of a sudden if you're just both there shirtless, young men, athletes, you're like, we're gonna fall in love.
Yeah, I guess.
But you are an athlete. You're a basketball. You were a basketball player. Where are you playing?
I was coaching and playing in Sweden.
Yeah.
And then I came back, had a little knee problem.
Yeah.
Like we tend to do. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think basketball, like, because there is like, again, just not to constantly compliment you, but there is a difference in work ethic between you and a lot of other people. A lot of comics that I know, young guys, the reason they're in comics is because they're kind of like, I know I saw a guy post this on Facebook the other day. It's like, remember when comics were the people who didn't give a shit? Oh, yeah. And like that, it's kind of like that attitude. But then Kenny Robinson, who's one of my favorite, he's a Canadian comedy legend. He posted right under it. He's like, comedians give a shit. They're the guys who are there every night trying to get their act better, talking to other comedians, working on stuff, seeing what they can do, seeing if they can get a gig, seeing if they can get a job. So that's the sort of attitude I'm used to, is like this go get it attitude.
Yeah. I mean, I have this attitude is like, I mean, if you're going to do something, become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, why half-ass it, Mm-hmm. And that's why when I tried it my first time, I decided I want to try this and see how good I could get. And the only way that I knew how was to come here, look at people that have been doing it a lot longer than me, talk to them, see how they do it, see how they perfect their set and try to step, try to do it myself.
Yeah, and so like coming up, we have the Christmas shows coming up, and so this is going to be kind of like your first paid gigs as well.
Yeah.
And so your paid gigs are coming up. How have you built a writing process? Because you're kind of doing this in the dark. There's not a lot of comedians to learn from here.
No, not really, but I believe I can learn from everybody.
Yeah,
something at least, and. I don't know. I just try to write my material down, try to see what what I can cut out, if I should add anything into it, and yeah, talk to other comedians that've been doing it longer, and usually you get really good pointers, and you just take it from there.
What would you say is your favorite? Like, what do you find funny? Are you a person who like you take it from your life, or do you find dark humor funny? I've seen you do like kind of shock humor and stuff too, which is always fun.
Yeah.
What is that like? Is that what you'd be laughing about if you were watching a show? Like, what are your favorite comedians? Who are your favorite comedians?
My favorite comedians. I mean, I used to, Louis C.K., Bill Burr.
Yeah, everyone always puts used to in front of Louis C.K. now.
Yeah, but no, he's still funny.
Yeah, he is still
even
funny.
Even though that
he's the same as he always was. It's just people are finally like, holy shit, that is him.
Yeah, exactly. It's not an act. Holy crap! And he got 2 daughters. But no, yeah, Bill Burr, Louis C.K. I used to when I was younger. I used to watch a lot of Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
Which is not really my style, but I really like that style.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean. Like, he's one of those people where I always enjoy watching him, but I don't think I would ever be doing that sort of kind of alt comedy, surreal stuff.
Yeah.
I always end up being just a plain standard angry white guy comedian.
Yeah. But I guess I get most of my material is usually things that happen to me that make me kind of angry or frustrated or something like that. It's like those kind of things, and usually it's just because it's funny, because how angry I get or how upset I get about stuff that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so
and you also like again, because you went to Alabama and you lived in Atlanta.
Yeah.
This is something that comedians in the States obviously you would see, and you would see it in Canada as well. You talk about like being from Iceland and then seeing the racial tension.
Yeah.
And I think some people are sometimes the audience is like, how would this Icelander be talking about racial tensions in Alabama? Like, where does he get this from? But this is your lived experience. And what was that like?
It was kind of weird to begin with.
Yeah.
And especially in Alabama, I don't know what's going on there, but every guy is super skinny, but every girl is super fat. I don't know if she wakes up earlier than him and empty the fridge or something. I don't know what's going on there, but
maybe like everyone's fetish is of being a feeder there.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like that's how you show off. You're like, what are you talking about? I buy my
I'm
bitch.
a fighter, man.
I buy my bitch fries.
Yeah, I get.
I feed my lady. Yeah. She can't even walk. That's how fucking rich I am. I have to use a rolling stick just to get her out of bed.
But there's great hose. No, I can bathe her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, and it's really funny. Like Atlanta is in the South.
Yeah.
But they don't talk to them about themselves as being from the South. They make fun of Alabama's.
Yeah.
Which is like right next to Atlanta, and you're like, guys, you pretty much the same guy. Like, no, we shine our shoes. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. So that's the difference.
That's the difference. That's how it always is with you. Like when you go to these places and they're like, no, we're not like those guys.
Yeah.
What the hell? That guy wears a red t-shirt. I would never wear a red t-shirt.
Yeah, and I loved it that when we were in Atlanta, I could go to NBA games.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I really love basketball.
Yeah.
But then she decided to study in Montgomery.
Yeah.
And Alabama is one of the few states that does not have a NBA team.
No.
So I was like, okay, so I'm in America, but in one of the 3 states that does not have a fucking NBA team. That's great.
Yeah.
So now I have to start watching football.
Yeah. How do you like American football?
It's fun when you have 2 good teams.
No.
You know, but yeah, it's growing on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Me and Mauricio, the other comics here, I go to him every Sunday.
You guys watch football together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
He just had 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. When are you having kids?
I have a kid.
How many?
2.
2?
Yeah.
So what'd you say? I have a kid. Do you not like the other one?
What? I just had a kid.
I know. Yeah, but you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you have your kid? I just saw the photo.
4 months ago.
4 months ago.
Yeah.
Jesus. 2 kids.
Yeah.
How old are you?
39.
39. Okay, that's not too bad.
No.
It's not like that Artner guy. 25. Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
He's got a life sentence.
He would have 6 at 39.
So that's something that I've noticed you don't have in your set yet. You haven't really brought your family life into a lot of stuff yet.
No, not really. I kind of decided not to bring it in right away until I have established like what kind of comedic I am.
Yeah.
And until then, I will just keep to my own stories.
Yeah. You don't want to burn those bridges until you know it's going to be a great fire.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
But because you have a story about going to a wedding, like you have a bit about going to a wedding in Alabama.
Yeah.
And that must be kind of strange. How because they're like you already have like the weird you have to put your shirt on. There's this weird homophobia in the air.
Yeah.
But then like marriages in the States are a lot more serious than they are here too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They actually take it serious over there.
Yeah.
Over here is like render a video or something. You can always return it. You know?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Preach it to the choir, man.
Yeah. It's a little different here. Yeah. Tell us a bit about that story.
I mean, so I go there. I'm a best man for my friend, and the whole thing is just. I've been to weddings over here, and it's like you said, it's more like a big party than actually a union.
Yeah.
Thing. But
a holy matrimony.
Yeah. But it was weird because I never really knew what my role was over there in a way.
Yeah.
And apparently a best man always have to do a speech.
Yeah.
And so I did a weird speech, which I thought it was funny, but you know, everybody else was like, "What the fuck?" And yeah, it's it went well. Nobody got mad.
Yeah.
Except this one lady.
Yeah.
She was like, "Hey, I have my 6-year-old daughter here." I was like, "It's 9 p.m., man. What the fuck is she doing here? This is my time now."
But it is like Iceland. Obviously, we have like there's more liberal views on a lot of things here, like sex, and even like you don't have this like homophobia like you have. Like there's still obviously like it is everywhere, but it's not like it is in the States there. But there you're talking about going to strip clubs and stuff like that. That's illegal here. Everything there seems to be like kind of more puritanical, and then when it's not, it's way more overboard the other way.
Yeah, it is. For example, like strip clubs over there is just something that people do. But when they were legal here, it was always like a taboo thing to do. But over there is like
people are coming out of the strip club like with like covering their faces and like, I'm so ashamed.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Spend all my money. And also it's like it's when guys talk about, like in the States, if you talk about sex, it's always all right as long as it's not your girlfriend or your wife. Yeah. For some reason, you can talk about how you banged a girl that you met at a bar. Yeah. But if you tell your friends that you did a wild thing with your girlfriend, they were like, hey, gross. Hey, what's going on here?
Hey, don't let us in.
Yeah. I was like, hey, that's not good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's probably the same kind of everywhere a little bit. I don't really like go to my friends like, man, last night my girlfriend, what? She was dressed like a dinosaur. She knows I love dinosaurs. And everyone be like, what the? I don't want to know this for real. People always want to know like side stories where they have a little thing on you, but they also kind of are jealous of you. As soon as you bring your family into it, don't the people like kind of go like, oh, that's just how you are.
Yeah. And that's why I don't talk about my family on stage. That's one of the things that I learned from you guys. Yeah. Not do that.
I probably talk too much about my life on stage.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Are you planning to go to Edinburgh this year? Do you have any plans for the future?
Yeah. I'm going to Edinburgh, but I'm just going there to see how the scene goes and stuff like that. And we'll be going with a couple of guys from here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go and take a look for like a week or something like
Yeah.
that. And I heard it's like from Andrew. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's not like it is like two different, like if you go to like Canada and say you went to Toronto and you went to like a comedy club, like you went to like Absolute and Yuck Yucks and you went to these things, it's a whole different thing than going and doing this fringe show, which can be like soul crushing but also rewarding. It's a different, like, it's not a comedy club, so you're not really set up for comedy. So you'll be like in a coffee shop for 4 people at 9 a.m. trying to do your set, and they're
man.
and they're like, what? They're like, why are you here? It's like, it's the fringe. It's the only venue I can get. I have to come here for 10 years before they give me a real room. So it's like, it's like, I don't know. It seems like British comedians have this like masochism where they just like they're like, I'm a performer, I perform anywhere, I do it. And then you go to the States and they're like, no, perform in comedy clubs and bars. That's where people like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but I mean, they must be doing something right over there. It's the biggest one, right?
yeah, it's the biggest arts festival in the world. And so like if you have like a show and you ticketed it well and marketed it well, it's awesome. But it's like, it's the spectrum of like good to is huge.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you walk into any comedy club on any weekend in Toronto or something like that, like you can see, like, you know, you're going to get pretty, like, the spectrum isn't as big. You're going to get a good show and it could be great. Whereas at the Fringe Festival, you could go and watch some insane person who just like used their family money to rent a venue for a month and tell you about their mental illness. And you're like, crap.
All right.
Okay, this guy can't afford a therapist, but he can afford this? What the hell's going on?
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to see that.
But you're actually more classically, because now a lot of young people are doing comedy really quick, and there are a lot of people who start quite young. There's a comedian like in Canada who's won the San Francisco competition, and like every time I've seen him live, I'm not friends with him or anything, I've just seen him. He's so good, and he started when he was like 16. Rob Pugh, he's just like this amazing powerhouse of a comedian. But a lot of comedians start late, because that's when, like, because if you go to an open mic and listen to 20 different 20-year-olds, especially young men and women, actually, it's all the same shit. Like, it's always just like their life experience is that, oh my God, I can't pay my bills, I drink too much. That's where everyone gets their material. But then as soon as you're in your 30s, you have life experience, all of a sudden their jokes get really clever and funny. And most comedians, their careers take off late. So this is a good time to start.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast. And I think you've given people the best advice ever, which is the only advice there is for this sort of thing, which is show up and do the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So this has been with Eggert,
Yep.
the Secret Cellar Green Room podcast. We have shows every night of the week here at the Secret Cellar. We have Mondays, the Magic Viking. Tuesdays, the Funniest Four. Wednesdays, the Golden Mic, which is the open mic. Thursdays is My Voices Have Tourette's, hosted by Dan Zarin. Friday is the Not So Secret Friday show, hosted by Gizli Yo. And Saturday is the Saturday Night Comedy Showcase, which Eggert has been on many times with me. I host the show on Saturday. Sundays is Silly Sunday Shenanigans. And then Monday is the Magic Viking. Again, I've done the whole loop. That's it. Yeah, I hope you guys tune in to the next podcast. We're going to have some great guests, and keep coming to the Secret Cellar, Iceland's first and only stand-up comedy club. Thank you.
Thank you.